Hey everyone, and welcome to this edition of World Sports Daily. Jim Williams here with Sean Miller. Sean, yesterday a lot of places came out with their All World Cup team. Um, what were your thoughts? Were they on point, or did we see some surprises there? Some people that you're not necessarily so overwhelmed with.
And I saw the one, the here's the SOFA score, which is just specifically based on the rankings here. Messi, obviously, Mbappe, Griezmann, Gakpo, Fernandez, Casemiro. No problems with any of those. Blind, Maguire, Konate, Juranovic, and Likovic. Yeah, look, it's a pretty good team. The thing that pops out to me is Manchester United player, soon to be Manchester United player, used to play for Manchester United. Manchester United wanted the keeper. Hopefully, Kylian Mbappe comes to Manchester United soon. But yeah, Manchester United had most players on the team, so good tournament for them. But this is pretty good thing here. Here's the actual highest rated players. Bruno Fernandes actually the highest rated player ahead of Lionel Messi. Played really well.
Mbappe's all the way down to the fifth. Was it fifth? Yeah, fifth.
Yeah. Yep. He didn't. I forget how the ranking for that one game because he didn't play that much. Didn't do a lot in that final until he scored 3 goals. But obviously that's what forwards do.
Right. I'm a little surprised about Griezmann. He had a hell of a tournament.
Yeah, he was very good. Hopefully, I know he's a huge Manchester United fan. Maybe he'll be there soon. But yeah, it's I don't have a problem. Usually, with these players, I thought Cody Gakpo was pretty good as well. So here's
who was the best U.S. player? From your not necessarily
Tyler Adams, maybe, or let me think. Probably Tyler Adams. I think it's kind of gotta be him. I mean, there's really who else it would be. Yunus Musa was very good. Obviously can't be Gio Reyna. I think Yunus Musa or Tyler Adams comes out of it as the best player there.
Either of those two will get it.
Yeah.
We're getting ready for a couple things. Things are coming together. Speaking of the U.S. side, the Seattle Sounders are going to be playing in a tournament, and they didn't even make the playoffs. That has it has Real Madrid in it? There's the champions.
Oh, it's the Club World Cup,
right?
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Let me see if I can pull up. Club World Cup 2023. Morocco is going to host it, which is awesome. The coach from Morocco, the Morocco national team, led Morocco to the Wydad to the Champions League, the African Champions League. Champions of the six continental federations. Although Wydad won, so I guess Al Ahly will be in as well. Let me see if I can pull up the bracket.
When does it start?
It'll be in February. There we go.
So we'll have a little time to get ready for it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's usually the winners of the UEFA, Chelsea won in 22, Bayern Munich Liverpool, Real Madrid, Real Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich.
I think we see a pattern here. Yes.
Yeah, the only time in 2012, Corinthians won. They beat Chelsea, fraudulent team anyway. In 2006 and 2005, the teams, 2004, the teams from Brazil all won. So, it's an interesting tournament. I mean, the games are good. The teams it's usually the team from South America against the team from Europe. And it used to be called the Intercontinental Cup, and that's what it was anyway, because those are obviously clearly the best teams, all year. So, it's weird now. It used to be in December. Now it's right in the middle of the Champions League. To be honest, I mean, it's going to be right before the Champions League. So, Real Madrid's going to have to go out there and win that title, which they want to win, and then, come back and play Liverpool. So it's not, the best timing here, but it is what it is. We'll see here. I know we got going to have Amadeus joining us in a couple minutes. He's going to be coming in and he's a night owl. So he's up late. So basically, this is a good big day today. We got games. We had one day off, and we are back on the grind today. So we're going to look at the EFL Cup matches here. Let me present my screen. We have MK Dons hosting Leicester City, Newcastle United hosting AFC Bournemouth, Southampton hosting Lincoln City. These are all round the 16 matches. Wolves hosting Gillingham. And in the Copa del Rey, you have all these matches here. I'm going to look at the odds. So here are the odds right now for there we go. There's Amadeus. Jim's back.
Yeah. Little crash there. Sorry, guys.
And then Amadeus is here as well.
Hey, Amadeus, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys this morning?
Great. Just about, we were talking about the Club World Cup, and then, today is really, the return of actual, club football. There's 4 EFL League Cup matches today, and then there's 8. There's a ton of Turkey Cup. There's 8 Copa del. If you could explain to me how the Copa del Rey gets behind the Turkey Cup in this, because Spain is ahead of Turkey in the alphabet. I don't understand how the Turkey Cup gets ahead of that, but it is what it is.
It's more popular. Everybody loves the Turkey Cup.
Right.
Around Thanksgiving, yes.
Yeah, Thanksgiving and Christmas. But it's interesting because I wrote a couple stories today about these EFL Cup games. Newcastle is one of these teams, and I don't know if Fox is here or not. He might be lurking here. Newcastle is. I don't want to be too effusive of Newcastle if Foxy's watching here, but they're one of these teams. I think they're on the periphery of the title race. They're 7 points back of Arsenal. They're 2 points back of Manchester City, and they're going to spend money in January, and I think it would be important for them to win a cup this year. I don't know if they can. If they run into Manchester City at some point, I don't know if they could beat them, but maybe in a one-off in a final or something like that, they could. But this is of the games today: MK Dons against Leicester City, Southampton against Lincoln City, Wolves against Gillingham. You got Premier League teams against much lower division teams, and then Newcastle and Bournemouth. So I always find these cups interesting, especially now because these games are going to be tough. I don't know who's playing in these games today. Like I have no idea. You're going to wait to see at 1:45 who's in the lineup, and you're going to look and say, who the hell is this guy? So I think these games are going to be pretty interesting over the next couple days. I think you could see some upsets, which is coming off the back of the World Cup is probably what you want here.
Yeah, it's so tough to say, as you said, with the lineups. Like the World Cup just ended on Sunday. Literally, like you don't know who stayed or if teams went home right after they were eliminated. Some people like to stay and watch the game, so it's really tough to see. I don't know who's going to be in the lineup for this Newcastle team. I think the best thing with these cup games is to always check the lineup before. Never place your bet too early on these.
You also have Paris Saint-Germain is playing tomorrow against a second division French team. And you're going, well, I can tell you a couple of players who are not going to be there. So, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, you're not going to see – if you made the final, you're not going to see these guys for a little bit. I would expect Mbappe to be back pretty soon, maybe for when the games start, like in 10 days.
Well, next week they get back into league play. So
yeah. One of the things that I had written about is we don't have the let me pull up the Premier League fixtures here coming up. Spurs, because this is next. Monday they go, and Spurs are kind of in the periphery of the title race. I don't think anyone in the world expects Spurs to win the title because they're Spurs. But Harry Kane, if he uses that, that penalty miss and that kind of powers him and does whatever, and he just goes on a mission and he stays healthy because he's always injured, gets injured for a month. Maybe he just has a crazy second half of the season. And I mean, you got to remember, they've played 15 games, so they have 23 games left. 4 left of the first half. We're still not even done with the first half of the season. 19 games when you play the teams, then you play them again. So, there's still a lot of time left in this league. So, I'll be interested to see, what this. I know Amadeus thinks Arsenal can win this.
Well, not with Jesus out, they can't.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the window opens, and I would see. I think there's going to be some. This is going to be a crazy flurry. I know Manchester United's going to buy because they're going to have a new owner.
Trying to poach every player on the planet.
We're going to try to, we're going back to Ajax taking all their best players again.
Basically, every small country that has a league, you're going to the best team and taking their best players. Taking Gakpo from Ajax. You guys want Ramos from Benfica.
We want everybody at this point. But Arsenal will probably spend, Newcastle will spend because they're the richest team in the world. City might, they might not. Who knows? Liverpool's probably going to spend. I mean, although they're out of it at this point, but it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of. It's an interesting table. I'll be. I don't think the table will look like this at the end. I expect City to win the title. I think Arsenal finishes second or third. I think Newcastle finishes top 4. I think United, if they spend money, finishes top 4. So.
What happens, guys? I mean, because of the World Cup ending up in the middle of the season, I assume that you're expecting when you go, like you guys just said, they're going to go raid teams, right? You're expecting that the person you bring on to play and have an impact, I would assume, right from the get-go, right?
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk on that.
Yeah, I would think so, because you see what these guys just did for their countries in the World
Right.
Cup, and you'd think that if you're gonna go get this player for the way he performed during the World Cup, you want him to bring that same energy to your team. Obviously, like Ramos came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh, I'm replacing Ronaldo. Okay, I'll score 3.
Right.
That's fine."
I think, for Manchester United, they tried to sign Ramos last year, and they tried to sign Gakpo, but they decided to prioritize Anthony first, and then they said, "Look, just stay at PSV. We'll come back for you in the winter." And that's clearly what's happening. He's going to be Manchester United player on January 1st, which is good, because they need more players. You're going to be playing you're playing Sunday, Thursday, Sunday for the next 2 months, so you need players. But I for some of these guys will be Aaron Bat from Morocco. All of a sudden, people are like, "Man, this guy's good. Like, let's go get him." Like, he's kind of it's not like a panic buy, but you see him at the World Cup and you see him against these other players, and you're like, "Man, he's good." Like, a lot of these players, the Manchester United people, Kudus, obviously, anybody from Netherlands, anybody they're linked with, they've clearly been linked with for a year. Like, as soon as Ten Hag came in, they're going to be linked with every player in the Netherlands. But sometimes it's not great to do that on the back of a World Cup. A lot of times those players flop because they're just not used to playing in these big leagues. So it's hard. The Premier League is the hardest league in the world to play in. It's brutal. They play all the time. It's really physical. I mean, if you go watch these other leagues, in Portugal, Spain specifically, I mean, you can't touch. When Messi was playing there, you couldn't even touch him. If he came to the Premier League, he'd be getting beat up. Like, that's one reason why I think he went to PSG and not Manchester City. But yeah, it's the problem when you're transferring these leagues in January is you have to get up to speed of the play of the Premier League, and you see, it takes some of these players like a year to do that. Maybe their second year they break out. Their first year is just adjusting to the league. And if Arsenal says if Arsenal's trying to bring in a player, maybe Marcus Thuram from Gladbach in France, and want him to come in and score 10 goals to help them maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it takes him till next year. So it's tough. I mean, if you're looking to replace a player, Arsenal might be better off trying to find someone from, Fulham, Brentford, Palace, something like that, who already is adjusted to the league and maybe knows how to, maybe do it. I think that's the kind of a important distinction here, because, it's going to, and then, you look at the bottom of the table too. I mean, this is, from Southampton to Bournemouth, there's 4 points, and that's 19th to 14th. Leicester City's not going to go down, but it's tough at the bottom there. It's the same thing. Some of these guys are going to be spending some money as well. So,
how much of a factor is the weather at this point in time?
I mean, it's.
It's brutal. I'm just saying,
It's like 37 degrees and rain in Manchester. Like, it's just absolute. It snows. It just doesn't snow. It doesn't snow in Manchester because of the mountains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you go to these other places. I mean, it was the other day I was watching the championship, and a bunch of matches were canceled because the pitches were frozen, which doesn't help fixture congestion. But it's cold and it's hard to breathe. It's like, it's cold and wet. Like, I can't even explain, like, when you live here, it's like it's hard, it snows or whatever.
Right.
When you're walking around Manchester, because you got to go out, walk to town through everything. And when you
right
in your hotel all the time when I'm over there, and just like, you're just like, it's just cold. This is until like April, by the way, or sometime March. So it's just like 37 degrees, 40 degrees, and like 2 or 3 Celsius, and just wet. and just like mist. There's just like a mist, and it's just like it sucks. It's so bad going to watch games. Every time I go there, I'm like, man, I'm never coming here again until the summer. Like I'm only coming back in August. But I mean, like Amadeus, where you are, it doesn't really. It's not late. It's like snow, right? In the winter, it's not like cold rain.
Yeah, it's snow, but I actually live in a I live in a little town that's kind of in a valley. So we don't get a lot of snow here. So that weather you're describing is literally what we get. It's like extremely cold and it's rain and it's just the whole ground is wet. The air is wet. But as soon as you leave the town, yeah, there's snow everywhere. And it's like, good luck getting to work or wherever you got to go, right? But because I live in that valley, just like how the mountains in Manchester don't really, you don't get the snow there. We don't get the snow because we're so low. I actually used to live in a place just above the valley like 10 years ago, and it was like another country there. We would get like 10 feet of snow and nowhere else would really get it. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like just here alone, like probably from Hamilton to Toronto, there's different weathers just in different cities because of the way like the location is. It's actually the weirdest thing.
Amadeus, to your point, I used to live and work out of Cleveland, right? And it would snow there, like depending upon if you're on the east side of the lake, it would snow. Exactly. If you're on the west side, it would snow, but not as bad. And we were across Lake Erie, 35 miles across Lake Erie was London, Ontario. London, Ontario was like London, England. Okay. It rained. It was, to your point, it rained. It was a mess. Okay. You hated to go there only because, you were praying for snow, which is insane, but you were just saying, please just snow, just get this damn rain out of my life. It's just cold. And everywhere you went was cold and damp. And it was like you were constantly walking out of a shower.
Yeah, and I'm glad you say that because like for example, Sunday, the Buffalo game, there was all that snow there. I'm on the opposite side of the lake and we got like nothing. And I even had a friend say to me, like, weren't we supposed to get like 5 feet of snow? Where's the snow? Why? Buffalo got the snow, but we didn't.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. It's the weirdest thing in this area. And I think the lake is definitely a big factor.
100%. Yeah.
Because we're right on Lake Ontario here. So, and then we have obviously the lakes, right, that cross over into the US. So like we're just surrounded by lake, all 5 Great Lakes. Ontario is just
hanging out there.
Nooked in. Yeah. Especially in the southern part there, right?
We used to joke about the east side of Cleveland, you could get 7 inches of partly cloudy. You just never knew what was going to happen, but you did know if it was going to snow, you were going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
But so anyway, I mean, we watched those games, Sean, in the league, and the guys are just basically out there in shorts. It's like, okay, are you insane, or do they not allow them to wear long pants? I
don't know. I mean, I guess they probably, I forget if they can or not. I feel like I've seen maybe Traore or one of these guys with them. I know they have to wear the reason they wear the socks, like the different colors, is so that when the referee looks down and sees the socks, he knows which foot the ball went off of. I know, like,
right,
like the socks both can't be like white. You have to be whatever. But I feel like I've seen some players wearing it. It's weird too, because it's you think of like Spain and Madrid, and I'm always I was in Madrid in August and or April last year, and when I was there in 2019, it was in June. It was 95 degrees every day. There wasn't a cloud, but it's cold there in the winter as well. It's because it's the mountains and it's pretty cold. So it's not just you see it. Obviously in Italy it's different, but the north of Italy is cold as well. So
in Germany.
Germany is cold. I mean, they're usually, when the Premier League,
they get snow.
Yeah, yep, they do because they play with the orange balls and stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. I mean, usually these leagues are on breaks now, and the thing is with this thing about the Premier League that's so special is they play more games. They're like, nah, we're not doing a break. We're doubling down. We're playing 10,
Right.
So it's going to be interesting now because these leagues are all back at the same time. So I mean, it's just. I mean, when you see the schedule for next week, Tuesday, there's the Premier League, the Championship, Super League, Belgium's back, Australia's playing now. And then, next Wednesday, Ligue 1 comes back. As you said, PSG's playing Strasbourg. Portugal's back. Scotland's already back. And then La Liga.
It's cold in Scotland in the summertime.
Yeah, yup. And then La Liga comes back on Thursday. So, we talked about this, how the Premier League, I mean, it's going to be like, nonstop for 3 weeks, other than one day. Thursday, the 29th is the only day there's no English, and there's the championship games. They play a full schedule. There's no top Premier League teams playing. But, it's going to be on the back of what people are saying is maybe the best World Cup ever. There's going to be basically games every single day until March, until the next. I think the next break is. There's Champions League, so the break goes, I think, after this round of games here, Monday. Yeah, there it is, because you can tell right now. Whenever the first thing up is the Regionalliga West in Austria, there's no games.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that's the first game on the list, I know it's an international break. The Super League is playing. So the Swiss Super League is still playing. They don't even care. But you got the Euro qualification. So Italy, England, which is pretty interesting game. And that was the final last time.
Yeah.
So to come right out and play in that, France, Netherlands. Until the middle of March, I mean, there's basically games every single day that you can watch, bet on, whatever it is. If you're now become a fan of soccer because of the World Cup, you can find those games here.
Well, I think the good news is that the casual fan, right, who got jacked up because of World Cup, now doesn't have to wait, 2 or 3 weeks before they can start watching, games.
That was the problem. I mean, it's not, you got the MLS, but we've talked about this 100 times. Amadeus and I, the MLS, they never take advantage of this stuff. The World Cup would end, and they schedule 17 games on Saturday at the same time.
Right.
Spread, hey, let's spread them out like the Premier League does, so we have games every day and people will watch them. No, we're going to put them all at 3:00 on a Saturday. But I mean, you see this. I mean, you look at these fixtures. Starting next week. On the 26th. I mean, look at the Premier League. There's 4 different windows: 7:30, 10, 12:30, and 3:00. And then you got the 2 windows on the Tuesday. You got the Wednesday game, and then Ligue 1 plays, 9:00, 11:00, 3:00, 1:00. I mean, these leagues are smart. They spread the games out.
Mm-hmm.
The La Liga, 11, 1:15, and 3:30. They bring the team. They get these TV people. Obviously, Jim, they get it. If we put the games and spread them out, we can have all these people watching right after the World Cup, and they're going to be hooked. And now all of a sudden, you have games 6 hours when everybody's off of school and off of work and stuff like this. And you got games from 11:00 or 9:00 in the morning until 5:00. And you might not sit there and watch all of them, but hey, listen, I might watch it, and then I go out and I come back. Oh yeah, there's a game on today. So it's going to be pretty cool.
One of the things I talked to when he was commissioner of the USL, Francisco Marcos, and Francisco had this theory with USL that he didn't want to play games all on the same days. He wanted to stretch them out. He said, if I'm playing all my games on Wednesday and Saturday, what the hell's gonna, what happens the rest of the week? We're losing audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so they stretched it out, and they play in, their cities are some of them are bigger, some of them aren't. But the good news for them is they broadcast every game that they have, and they and they also have good ticket and prices and things like that to make it simple and easy for people to come. But the whole concept is to make it friendly for everybody to have a game whenever others don't.
I mean, that's what the MAC football did. I mean,
Right.
the MAC football figured out, hey, we can play on ESPN on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This was before, when they started doing this 7 or 8 years ago, every game wasn't really on TV.
Right.
Like, now every game's on. But, if I'm some kid, this is, 7 or 8 years ago, and I say, wait a second, I can go to, I don't know, Rutgers and sit for 2 years, or I can go to Akron and play right away.
Right.
And also be on TV every week. Why would, what's the point? It's the same. You're getting the same scholarship. I'm going to go somewhere where I can play and be on TV all the time. Everyone's on TV now, but that, it wasn't the case back then. And they got it. And all of a sudden those schools became, they started getting an influx of players, and it's now these schools are pretty good, and they're all, that league is really competitive. And they get players.
Well, the other thing is they don't have to share. I mean, if they're playing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? It's like they got prime time every night.
Yep.
So, if you're a scout, or if you're your NFL draft situation goes up because everybody can see you. By the same token, a lot of those kids have used the portal. And the only reason that people know about them is because they saw them on the weekends. I'm sorry, in the weeknights.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what, with the MLS, this new deal. And Amadeus, Jim, your brother's helping with that deal, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, with this new thing, obviously Fox, they only have the 14 games. So it'll be interesting to see if Apple has these games spread out so there's more content. Because I think, that was the one major criticism. If you're in the summertime and you're looking for soccer games to wager on or watch or whatever, and 7 of them are playing at the same time on a Saturday, and then there's one at if there's one other window or something like that. I mean, it's I know they don't want to go up against whatever football or whatever thing, but I think now at this time the market is different. You can kind of you have your own things. I'd be interested to see if they spread these games out and have games 12 o'clock on the East and up till 8 o'clock on the West.
Well, the thing too, from a programming and a production standpoint, right? You're sitting there going, okay, if I've got 7 games all starting at the same time, it's such a programming mess. It's like, how do you promote that? I'm promoting against myself. It's like it's like, okay, you don't want to watch this one. It's like it's like you're cannibalizing your own league.
Yeah.
You're forcing people to choose a game that, instead of me taking a look at a team that I've never seen before, I'm more than likely going to watch somebody I like or I know, or not watch it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, you end up with a team, they don't play early. That's the problem too. All of their games are, pretty, 7:30 at night. They don't play any afternoon games.
I don't understand. I know. I think they kind of say, "Oh, people are playing travel or whatever." I don't like. I just
one of the biggest draws. It's going to sound silly, but one of the biggest draws on Saturdays in the fall, and it's probably the one thing that's going to save the conference, is ESPN has packed the Pac-12 After Dark, which is a game that starts at 10:30 every Saturday night during the season, and it's a Pac-12 game because that's a 7:30 start out there. Okay, the MLS has never taken advantage of that window. I mean, it's there, but they don't promote it that way. Or why wouldn't you promote a doubleheader? A game that starts at 7:30 on the East Coast, and then 7:30 on the West Coast. You got two games back to back.
I don't understand. I mean, we've talked about this a million times. Put me in charge. I'll spread it out.
It's like the MLS just doesn't get marketing, which is insane. They should.
There's a lot of different.
No offense to Don Garber, but he hasn't struck me ever as being a genius when it comes to marketing.
Well, that's what the problem is. We need us three in there calling the shots, change the schedule around. Let's get some promotion and relegation going, not just let's.
I love the idea
for a draft hit or for a draft pick.
I love the idea is if they would make a deal, with USL and them or however they want to call it, right? I would love to see relegation in this. I mean, would that jack things up? And people in this country doesn't, they don't really know much about it, but I think they'd learn fast.
Yeah, that's right. And it would actually force some of these teams to these guys aren't, they don't want to spend. It's like baseball. I mean, that competitive tax you have here. Like, look, you have to spend this money. Like, you have to. You can't. Hockey, all these other teams, you can't just constantly be bad. Like,
well, what about this? What about the municipalities, right? The cities that build these stadiums, right? And they just built a $200 or $300 million stadium, and the thing gets relegated. So it forces you to, be competitive.
Yes, 100%.
So I'd love to see, because I'm sure there's some USL teams that would love to take the step up and play in the MLS.
Of course, 100%. They're all begging to.
Right.
I mean, look, I mean, it's not, you already have the league set up. I mean, just, move them up, move them down. I mean,
it would be like the Hunger Games, right? Only the strong survive.
Exactly. No more expansion. You don't need expansion in soccer.
No, you wouldn't have to.
Go with the rest of the world for this sport and just do promotion relegation.
Man, that would be so much fun watching that turn. And we have one of the highest rated Premier League weekends is relegation weekend.
Yep. Of course.
Because so many people are watching to see, is my team going to stay, or are they headed, south?
That's going to be, I think this year will be interesting. I mean, once again, just looking at this table, I still don't think this Wolves team is as bad as they've been. Southampton, Nottingham Forest brought in 57 new players. You still got West Ham down there, Everton down there, Leeds down there, Bournemouth. I mean, you got some big clubs down there.
Yeah.
So, I think this year is going to be even crazier. It could be at both ends. I think you're going to have a lot of stuff to play for here.
Well, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And, this week there's, as we cruise in on the Christmas time, one of the good things, again, is these games are on in the afternoon when people are home. They can watch them. And there's no bowl games on until the weekend.
Yeah, I think, too, the thing that I like, it's like tomorrow I have to work, and United's playing at 3. So I'll I have my iPad and, I'll watch it kind of. But, the games are all on ESPN Plus. So when, if you get home, you could just replay the match. Like, you don't even have to, it's just right there. Like, if you miss the match, you can replay it. Like, that's the thing. I think these streaming sites have changed, and I think it's going to be, really important going forward. If you use, I mean, obviously you could DVR it, but now you could just sit as soon as you walk in the door, you can just push play and you can watch the game. You can watch it from the start I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean,
if you walk
the
in,
one great thing about streaming from that standpoint is even if the game is started and you just got home and missed the first 10 minutes, you can start from the beginning.
yeah, yep. You catch up, and then you catch up at halftime, and you watch the second half. I mean,
Right.
it's just pretty so much stuff with it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Amadeus, did you look at which ones are what do you got today? Anything? Pick advisor, Big Al.
I didn't give out any plays for soccer today. I haven't even given out anything yet. I'm going to do that right after the show. But I mean, like some of these bigger teams, like maybe Newcastle, I'll give a look depending on the lineup. But like it's tough. It's tough. But I feel like Newcastle has a lot of players that were probably out of the tournament earlier.
Yeah, I think the same with Leicester. You might look at Leicester. When you look at the where's the Copa del Rey? The games today. There's the two windows, or actually, I think it's only the one window. No, there's two. Some at one, some at three. I don't even know who these teams are. Chivas de Guadalajara. That is Chivas de Guadalajara, by the way, and they're in Spain, or CD Guadalajara. That's crazy. And they have to actually put Spain in the thing, but it's the same. Some of these games are either it's really small clubs against big clubs, and the crazy odds, or Bilbao against Sestao River Club. But once again, like you don't know who's gonna kind of show up, so. These games are either going to be 5-0 or actually probably pretty interesting. So, but between the 8 games, there's probably going to be some upsets because we've talked about this a little bit, but in England, it's just by the draw. They draw the balls out of the hat. The first one's the home team, the second one's the away team. Blah blah blah. In Spain, up until a certain round, if you get drawn with, if you're a Villarreal, you got to go to Guayaquil. Like you have to go to some League 2 or League 3 or League 4 team. Like you have to go on the road. They give the smaller teams the home advantage. So, there's actually some upsets, and it's these, you're playing on these basically at Mercer County Parks field, playing. It's
but you think about it. It's brilliant from again. Let's go back to the marketing aspect. That game's going to be sold out. You play that game at the bigger team's home field, nobody cares.
There's going to be 5,000 people at the game, and it looks terrible. If you played at the other place, there's going to be 5,000 people, and it's going to be
it's a full house.
Crazy atmosphere. Yeah, I actually really like the way they do it. You'll have some of these small teams hosting. Like a couple years ago, my guy Tom played for CD Rincon, and they hosted Alaves, and it was a first division team coming in, and it was a huge, massive deal. And the other thing is too, they get them, it's a boost and a windfall. The game's on TV,
right.
And they get the gate and they get the thing, so it gives these smaller clubs some money. And if they get through, first round, then get to a second round, it gives them another boost of money. And that money, if it's €1 million or 2 million, I mean, that could run the club for a year. So, it's important. They talk about that in the FA Cup. They want the replays are huge for in the third round. If it's a small club against the big club, if they can get a replay, now they get 2 games worth of money. And in every game they go, you always hear about, some little team makes the 5th round, and that all that money that comes in from TV and everything, that pays for their bills for a year. And maybe they get some extra players, and then all of a sudden they start coming up the ranks. So,
well, the other part of it too is, like we just said, the experience. Maybe you haven't gone to a game there, and suddenly you go to see this, this big mismatch. Your team plays well, and suddenly you're deciding, well, you know what? I think I'm going to start going back and watch the team play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
from a marketing standpoint, it's genius.
Yep.
It's like in college football, if Alabama were to go to Salem State, you know, you know, there'd be the usual 10,000 people at Salem State. They'd all be there to see Salem State play Alabama.
Yeah, that's the joke. You've only come. That's what United fans sing when they're in there. You've only come to see United. Like when United goes and plays anywhere, you can't get a ticket. I mean,
Right.
When United plays City, it's impossible to get a ticket. When City plays, Brentford,
you can walk up and get a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it is. But yeah. So I actually think it's pretty cool. Today of these games here, I'll probably watch Newcastle Bournemouth at 2:45. I think that's a pretty good game. Once again, I'd like to see some of the small teams. It's the only one that's hosting is MK Dons, and that's they built that brand new stadium for Wimbledon. But Southampton's hosting Lincoln City and Wolves are hosting Gillingham, so it's a great day out. But there'll be 12 people in the stands for those.
Ooh.
Wolves at minus 770 against anybody is an abomination. They could be playing it. They could be. Once again, I could find 11 guys in the park, and I think we could probably play Wolves to a 0-0 draw at this point. So I don't think they could score if they played for 10 days. So to be minus 770, which means, on the Asian handicap, you probably got to have them, minus. Oh, that's Southampton. You got to have them. I don't even know what the minus 2.5. Man, is this team scoring 3 goals? Look at that. Is Wolves scoring 3 goals against anybody at this point? That's crazy.
They're not scoring 3 goals against tall grass.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. You go look at the Premier League table. They have 8 goals so far in 15 games. That ain't good. The fact that they have their goal difference is only minus 16 and they've scored 8 goals is actually not that bad. I mean, if they had a decent amount of, if they could just find a striker, they'd probably be, in the middle of the pack here. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. This is one I want to ask you guys before we get out of here. Grading Fox's coverage of the Cup. What'd you think?
I'll be honest. I have IPTV, so I watched the BBC and the ITV coverage most of the time. Every once in a while, I would switch over. I can't.
For the record, everybody got the same picture.
Okay? Yeah.
So it's a world feed. So the only difference were the announcers.
The problem I have sometimes, and I've stopped watching pregame shows because I know, I don't need somebody to tell me what's going to happen. I know enough about the game to know.
Since they don't know, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, and I know. I think we know more than some of the people they have on. I mean, that's not even being a thing. I mean, it's true. But I tweeted out, I'm glad, I don't have to watch it until, 2026 now. It just, they try to be like, so, Alexi Lalas over the top. Look, man, just talk about the whole coverage it's like the Olympics. Oh,
right.
The people and thing. Look, man, France is playing England. I want you to talk about the game for 15 minutes. The 15 minutes before the game, talk about the game. I don't care about the U.S. team and, what they're already out of the tournament.
Right.
You're playing, it's match day 2 of the group stage, and they're talking about the USA game in 4 days. Look, I talk about the game that's up next. I don't care about the other stuff. But, that's the way it is now. It's just they're trying to, everything is sensationalized, and they try to get somebody on there so they can get a sound bite and get in the news, and they get the links and all this stuff. I just want to watch the games. And then when I'm watching the games, I just want somebody to like, dude, pronounce the names right. Like there's so many times I'm like, this guy doesn't even know the guy's name. They're mispronouncing their names. Like, I'm not. Like I was glad when they didn't get the Premier League. I think NBC does a really good job. Rebecca Lowe is awesome. But once again, some of that stuff is over the top with the pregame. I don't even watch that anymore. But
they've got an arrangement with Sky TV. So
yeah, yep. And then
they've got
the
the Sky deal
because Kate Abdo is the best, and they always have people. But to me, the Champions League games are great. The Champions League coverage is great because they have Kate Abdo, Jamie Carragher, Micah Richards, all these, but they have Terry Henry, whoever's in there. They're actually talking about the games. Like, I want to know what's going on in the games, and there's multiple games going. So, but they talk about the games. I don't need to know, like, hey, wow, this person is, this person grew up. There's so like the human interest stuff. I don't like. I hate human.
Well, if you mix the human
interests,
if you mix the human interest stuff into the game coverage, that's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you take away from the game coverage and go and spend 15 minutes explaining that this guy loves to snorkel and in the off season, it's like, yeah, well, that's lovely, but what the hell does that have to do with the game today?
It's my same problem I have with Taylor Twellman sometimes. Like these guys, like everything in the world doesn't have to come back to the U.S. men's national team. Everything in I'm watching some Carabao Cup game or something. Oh, this guy's a U.S. and they talk for 10 minutes about how he's plays on the. Man, he's playing for Burnley. I don't care. He's a Burnley player. I don't care that he plays for the U.S. national team. Like, you can mention it, but I don't need to know 10 stories. Like, he's a Burnley player or he's a Leeds player, whatever. Like, talk about that. I just think, it's just so U.S. centric, and they want to, they think I'm watching the game because I want to know all these. I just want to watch the game. I want you to tell me what's thing, and I don't need to know all this other stuff. I already know it. But the coverage, I understand. At some point, I understand the coverage isn't aimed at me. I know everything about soccer, and there is no so it's not aimed at me. It's aimed at the person who's not watching this, and hey, I'm at the World Cup, and Sally Homemaker or something like Johnny Football Guy or whatever. It's aimed at them, and then they're trying to.
Yeah, but you don't have to dumb it down.
That's what they. Well, I agree, but tell them that. It's every. I mean, it's not just. I think everything is dumbed down now. It's just they want to dumb everything down to this thing, and I'm just listen. You know what? Why don't you? Instead of doing that, why don't you smarten it up? Why don't you make me, if I am really interested in this stuff, I'll learn about it, and I'm going to drag me up to this level instead of dragging everybody down to this level. Elevate everybody, but that's not what they do. I can go on about schooling and everything.
It goes back to being lazy. You want to make it easy, and you don't want to challenge these people. And these kids that are watching these games, they know as much as the guys who are talking about them.
That's right.
They know the players. They know, they've been following it for, a year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, you don't have to. The biggest mistake that is made by sports, any sport, whether it's soccer, football, U.S. football, basketball, whatever, baseball, is the dumbing down of it, to try to get to explain to the people, what happens. Howard Cosell had a great line when he was doing Monday Night Baseball. He's sitting there with Tim McCarver, loved Tim McCarver, great guy. And the play-by-play guy was Keith Jackson. And it was a 2-hop ground ball to the third baseman. He throws the guy out of first. And Cosell says, because McCarver explains, well, Schmidt picks the ball up and throws it across over to first base, and they build it. He goes, if you have to tell me that, he goes, I shouldn't even be watching.
That's right.
He goes, I really think the people at home know that the ball bounced twice and the guy picked it up and threw it to first base. You don't really have to say it. And, I do think that making it's, there's a difference between informing and educating and being stupid. Inform and educate, fine. But you can do it on a level that is intelligent and fun, as opposed to just saying, oh, well, this is what a nutmeg is. Do I really bloody care what a nutmeg is? No. It does, really, stop it. But I mean, the one thing that I always get a kick out of, I love Andres Cantor, because Andres did over almost 2,000 soccer games and never did one of them in the stadium. Everything he did was called off of a monitor. And I have, from a television standpoint, guys, I can't tell you how hard that is to do. And Andres Cantor, I watched the Telemundo games on Peacock, and Andres was, as he always is, spot on. I mean, he didn't miss a trick. Everything was there. And that's not easy to do, because you're looking at it. Think of yourself watching it at home and watching on television. You get to see a lot, but there's a lot you don't see. And somehow, some way, he's able to really capture that. So I don't know. I mean, ESPN screwed it up trying. Fox has screwed it up trying. NBC was smart. They just farmed it out to Sky, which I think was their big. And CBS has done the same thing. They farmed it out to to European coverage, where the people know what they're talking about.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's why when you watch the Champions League, you're not watching, U.S. announcers trying to figure out what the hell it is that they're trying to do.
What do they have up there, Amadeus?
So our sports is like monopolized by TSN. Like, for example, I don't even need Amazon to watch Thursday Night Football. TSN has the rights to it, and they broadcast it across Canada. So for us up here, like our panel, it was all TSN. So our panel is like Stephen Caldwell, Kevin Coban, Julian de Guzman, and Janine Becky. So,
well, TSN is 38% owned by ESPN.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. I kind of figured that, like, this is almost like the Canadian version of ESPN. So yeah, I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job of it up here. Like, I don't know if I got access to the Fox broadcast. I might have on another channel, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just because, like, got 6 channels showing World Cup. They just throw it in your face, TSN. So like, they I'm sure that you're that close to, if you're that close to the U.S. border, you probably get U.S. TV stations. I think I do get the Fox, because they show the Lions a lot.
Well, then, you're in Ontario, so yes, you're going to get Lions games.
Lions and Bills. It's like, it's always on the same channel. There's a Buffalo channel, and there's like a Detroit. Right. There's like a Michigan channel.
Yeah, you're getting channel 2 out of Detroit and channel, I don't know what it is, out of Buffalo.
Yeah, sometimes I like the American. You guys have cool commercials. They're better than up here.
That's the funny thing, that everybody who's ever said to me that they like American television, the first thing they say come out of the sports is, or they're watching the Super Bowl in another country, and they go, we don't get to see the commercials.
Our Super Bowl commercials suck. They're terrible. I literally try to watch it on an American broadcast.
BBC and ITV commercials are atrocious. Like, that's the only thing I'm like, man, what's going on with this commercials? Like, what? Well,
then but the ITV people, because the BBC doesn't have commercials because it's the British Broadcasting Company, the ITV commercials are all lumped into a 10-minute block.
Yeah.
So you're like, I can go make a sandwich now because ITV is in commercial break, and they're not going to come back for another day or so. So yeah, but it's fun to watch, and if you get an IPTV service, and a VPN, then you're good to go and watch pretty much anything.
That's right.
So, and it still ends up being cheaper than some of the streaming services.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you get 3,000 channels.
VPN.
Yeah.
9,000.
I couldn't even watch the EMMY Martinez, his little like celebration where he was like, I tried to watch that one like after he made the save in penalty kicks, and it told me I wasn't in the right country. So I was like, okay, I'll just go turn my VPN on and watch this on Twitter from England. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You weren't in the right country.
It literally told me that. It was like a tweet, and it was like, sorry, you're not allowed to watch this in your country. So I was like, okay, I can be in England too.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Give me a minute.
Exactly. And then I could see the selling. I think that's gonna be a meme where he does like his looks to this guy, like moves his shoulders.
Yeah, that I mean, it probably already is.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got no class, personally, in my opinion. Did you see what he did with the Golden Glove trophy?
Yeah.
No class, man.
Well,
if you Google his name, there's other videos of him like humping the post of the goal post of a net in a penalty kick.
It's like wrestling, right? You got heels and you got good guys, and so who do you like? You like the heel because you need somebody to be the foil.
Yeah, that's him. There's like multiple too, like because I tried to find a video after somebody showed me, and like there was ones from years ago coming up where he's just like on a goalpost doing that, or like he's done that celebration before, just a humping motion. I'm like, what is it with this guy? It's obviously him. Something with him.
He's definitely got mental issues.
Yeah, it's a goalkeeper still. I mean, they're all.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was always told that because I played goalie in hockey, and I know it's a different sport, but that would always be the line to me. Oh, you're a goalie? No wonder. Goalies are always the weirdest people. I'm like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
I talked to Braden Holtby when he used to be with the Capitals, and he said it takes a special person to be a goalie. Yeah. And I said, what kind of person? It's one with no sense.
Literally, like a weird. Well, you're getting slapped in the head with pucks all the time. And
well, that's what he said. He said, "Why would anybody want to take the one job where you get hit with a puck 100 miles an hour for
I'd get hit with a slap shot to the face, and all my teammates go, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, it's my job to stop the puck. Go get it in the corner now."
Right. It's it hit off my face mask. Go and get it.
Yeah, it's like that's what the helmet's for. I did my job. Can you do yours?
Right. Just or you make a kick save and somebody's out there going, not even attempting to get it, and the other guy's stuffing it down your throat.
I know it's great. Yeah, but I guess it translates to soccer too. Just all goalies are weirdos.
They got to be a little mental. There was a guy, Winston Dubose, in the old NASL. He played for the Rowdies, and he spoke. He sounded, guys, like he was, like he had a Cockney accent. Winston Dubose graduated from the University of Central Florida, okay, and was from Orlando. And you're sitting there going, he could have passed easily for one of these crazy Englishmen, and he just, it was something. He was playing a character. So. In sports, as we all know, because we've covered all different types of sports, there are characters. There are guys who, take on a persona, and that's the persona that it is. I mean, it's like they speak to you in the third person, as if, that's another person. Well, when they get off the ice, or they get off the basketball court, or they get off the pitch, they're a different person.
Yeah, in school you got the class clown, and in the locker room you got the locker room clown.
Right. Crazy. All right, boys. Any last words before we get out of here today? A lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. We got it. Hopefully, all the Twitch watchers are enjoying us today.
Are twitching? Yes, right.
Twitching, and excited to watch some games later today. So.
Well, we're going to start some watch parties. They're going to be a lot of fun, and we'll bring Amadeus over and force him to watch it with us.
Do one for my Italy-England.
Yeah, that would be a good.
When's that coming up?
That was when was the international break? March. My God.
Yeah, March.
Oh, so we have a couple of weeks to get ready for that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see my team play after not making the World Cup, yet they're the defending Euro Cup champions.
Well, look at it this way: they took 2 weeks off.
Yeah, Yeah, that's why Haaland's gonna be fresh now for Man City.
I
Or
love
Norway.
that. Yeah, I love that game Thursday. I gave that game out last night on Washington tonight.
He's gonna be like raring to go after watching all this for a month and not getting to play.
Liverpool won't have half their squad. He might have 8 goals in that game on Thursday. That's an interesting game. Yeah, that'll be good. So.
In the first half.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, here, just let me just keep shooting.
Every time that guy touches the ball, he scores.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's like the Michael Jordan of soccer. Okay. All right, boys and girls. We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And bring friends. All right, guys. For Sean Miller, for Amadeus, and for me, time to get out of here so we can let you guys get off to work. All right, be well.